Another quote from Politico: government should not compel or prohibit any personal activity when that activity poses a danger to that individual alone. That would mean legalizing drugs. Politico asked, does that mean
once again,
we would have...
once again, my dad talks about the states making the decision.
I know, but from
not necessarily saying that all drugs would be legal, but that states would make the decision. So if California wants to have medical marijuana, the federal government doesn't come in and tell them they can't have medical marijuana.
For instance,
that's a states' rights issue.
If a live free or die state, for instance, chose not to regulate such a thing, then it would be okay under a Ron Paul presidency, in theory, to sell, let's say, as Politico puts it, cocaine and heroin over the counter.
The federal government wouldn't be making the rules on most crime, and that's the way our founders intended it. We still have most criminal law is done by the states, and this would be an extension of that we've gone too much towards an over-criminalization at the federal level, that it needs to stay at the state level.
For clarity, from the federal level, selling cocaine and heroin over the counter would be okay.
But the reason why that's not accurate is that Ron Paul would have nothing to prevent the state of Kentucky from having laws against marijuana, cocaine, heroin, or any of that. He just wouldn't do it at the federal level.
So there would be no federal law which would prohibit the sale of cocaine or heroin over the counter.
Most of our laws for murder, for example, the federal government doesn't permit murder, but it doesn't mean we're in favor of murder.
Of course.
The state governments have laws against murder, and that's where the criminal penalties come from. He likes that better because there might be some states, California being one, that think that someone wasting away from AIDS or multiple sclerosis, that it might help them to eat more if they were allowed to use marijuana. And it is proven. It helps with nausea and does help with some people with appetite. Should a doctor be allowed to prescribe that? He says yes, if the state says so.
Increases the sales of Doritos as well. But to be precise, there would be no law which would prohibit the over-the-counter sale of heroin and
but I
cocaine.
think people get confused on it. They think he's encouraging people to use heroin.
But that's accurate, isn't it?
No, it's not actually.
It's not accurate.
No,
so barring a state regulation, it would not be okay.
He's talking about leaving most of the crimes and most of the penalties to the states, but that's what the Constitution intended.
Right.
He's not arguing some sort of radical new concept.
Oh, I understand, but I'm trying to get clarity.
What the Constitution mandates is that if the power wasn't delegated to Congress, it's left to the states and the people respectively.
Right. So barring any state regulation, the over-the-counter sale of heroin and marijuana, heroin and cocaine would be legal.
Yeah, but it would be up to the states to make the decision.
What I'm saying is barring a state regulation.
But it's not him making a decision on it. You see what I mean?
I do. But I'm just trying to get clarity on that because I think the answer is yes.
Well, but I think people imply that that means Ron Paul's in favor of heroin.
I didn't imply anything. It was a simple question. Barring a state regulation that prohibits such a thing, the sale of heroin and cocaine over the counter would be legal.
He would say that all crimes, murder, rape, incest, are best handled at the state level, and that's where most of them are.
Got it. Busy day. Good luck.
Thank you.
Rand Paul, thanks so much.